Welcome back, everybody. My name is John, your host. Thank you for hanging out with my podcast. We got a fun one for you today. We're going to talk about why people's opinions don't matter, or do they? And if they do, how do we determine which opinions should we actually care about? And so it's always fun to say people's opinions don't matter. Just do your thing, and that is empowering to an extent, but it's not entirely accurate. We are social creatures, and we do have a place in society. If you want to have a place in society, there are opinions that we do need to care about. For example, your friends, you want to keep your friends because you like them. Obviously, you need them to like you too, so that's an opinion that you care about. Your family, you love your family, you want them to love you back. That's an opinion that you care about. Your jobs, if you want to get promoted and make more money, that's an opinion that you have to care about. If you're a salesman and you want to get more customers, there's more opinions that you have to care about. So it's fun to say people's opinions don't matter. But it's not 100% accurate because when you really think about it, there are lots of things in our lives that rely on people's opinions. You know, we all seek affirmation from our loved ones, our spouses, our romantic partners, our families, our friends, etc., etc. So what do we do? Especially when other people's opinions conflict with what we want. I've come up with a small little system that helps me determine whether or not I actually care about someone's opinion. So what do we do about it? I think it's really, really important to understand that we do get to choose whose opinion we listen to and whose opinion we care about. We don't have to be bound to every single opinion that we hear. We don't have to care about every single opinion. We do have to care about some, and that's what this podcast is about. Which opinions do we care about, and which ones do we ignore? And so you get to choose. But how do we choose? All right, so basically, I've come up with something that I think works. And it goes like this. Ask yourself the question, has this person put in any work into a relationship with me where they've earned my mutual respect and trust? And so straight away, you're disqualifying a million people. The jerks online who are criticizing you for making a podcast and playing video games at the same time, it don't matter because they haven't put in any work for me. Um, they haven't decided. They haven't. It's not mutual. It's not mutual. So, for example, I care about my mother's opinion. I care about my family's opinion. I care about, you know, my friend's opinion, and then there's the opinions of people that I respect, being people who have gone before me, people who I look up to, and so those are the ones I care about. I've decided that those are the ones that have value to me and have my best interest at heart. So you got to ask yourself: has this person um, put in mutual work into a relationship, or is at least in a position that I want to be in? Thus, I value their input. And so that's the for if you answer no to all four of those things, it's probably best to not stress about their opinion. Of course, be respectful. No need to be a douchebag, but it's probably for your best interest to not put so much weight on what they think, especially if they're not in your shoes and they're not striving for what you want. Their values are completely different than you, and most importantly, they haven't put in any work into a relationship, so they haven't even proven themselves to have your best interest at heart. So those are the people that you definitely should care about, and you get to choose and decide who those people are for yourself. So empowerment number one. Let's talk about who those people aren't. People online that you haven't spoken to in a while. Random people in the YouTube comment section who criticize you and don't even bother to try to get to know you, etc., etc. You know the ones I mean. People who think that they could just slide into slide into your DMs or your comment section and tell you off and say, "Oh, you'll never be this." It's like, well, whoa, why would I care what you think? Like seriously, why? And I think it really, really comes to a point where we need to decide that there are some people that just haven't earned the right to tell us what we ought and ought not to do. And let's face it, I'm not going to listen to some random person who just starts yelling at me in the comment section and calling me an idiot. They might be right, but I'm not going to listen because I have no rapport with them. And we don't have a working relationship, and we haven't put in any work to prove that we are on a mutual, trustworthy, beneficial basis in our relationship. So I'm not going to take those opinions seriously. And so really, really hone in and ask yourself the question, especially like when you know online and someone leaves you a nasty comment. It's like, do I care about this? And yeah, and you get to choose. And so that's the kind of thing that I do. It's like, okay, you're not a family member who I'm in good standing with. You're not someone who is heading where I want to go. So you don't have my values and you don't have my interests at heart. And you're not someone who's proven to have my best interests in heart. You're not someone who has time and time again demonstrated that they care for me and love me. Therefore, you're not someone whose opinion I am going to take all too seriously. I might think about it. You know, I'll take your opinion into consideration, but you don't get to just have me be like, oh yes, you're right. I will do as you ask. No, 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 not at all. I'll definitely listen, and I can definitely store your opinion in my mind for later and maybe think about it. But I'm not just gonna change who I am and do something else just because you think that I should. Because why would I? And so, exactly. And so you get to choose. You get to choose whose opinions you care about and whose opinions that you value. And that's a very, very empowering thing. So I really, really want to encourage you guys to do that. And so use that step. Use those questions to determine whether or not someone, you know, gets to tell you what to do or whether or not you're going to put a lot of weight into what they say. I think that's really, really important. And last but not least, of course, there are customers. If they're paying you, then their opinion kind of matters because, well, they're paying you. Of course, this really only applies to people who are working in small business, doing startups. If you're if you're a university student and you're trying to get money for a startup or a new a Kickstarter or money for a project, obviously those opinions are going to matter. It's best to keep those in mind and consider them because let's face it, you want their money. You know, it's a give and take situation. So you may have to negotiate, do some back and forth, and things like that. So that's really those are the main two categories. People who have actually demonstrated through time and through their actions that they actually care about you, and people who have the same values as you and are heading towards where you want to go, and people who have demonstrated to have your best interest in heart, and people who are going to pay you money. Those are the only opinions you should care about. If there's some random dude on the internet that you've never met before in your life, never heard of before, and he's like, yo, you should do this, or no, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, that doesn't matter. Like, just ignore that. It don't, and that's not permission to be rude. It's just permission to not take it to heart and continue in your convictions and doing what you know is right for you. And yeah, just do that, okay? Please don't limit yourself based on other people's opinions, okay? You are stronger than that. You're freer than that. Build a carefully selected inner circle of people whose opinions you trust, and stick with those. And let the haters be the haters, and just continue doing your thing. That is my advice. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out. I will see you guys in the next podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, consider liking and subscribing. It's going to be a pretty fun time around here once we get more and more people in. Thank you so much. Have a great day.